program came about from a response to the work of artist Kazuki Takizawa at the Craft Contemporary. And Kazuki Takizawa is going to be having a solo exhibition at the museum that's actually going to be opening next month. And I'll give you a little bit of more of that information towards the end of the program, including some links. But the Craft Contemporary will be opening to the public next month, of course, with timed entry and reservations and whatnot. So you will have an opportunity to see this work in person. For the first week of May, we're going to be open only to members. And then after that, starting May 9th, we'll be open completely to the public. And I'll share some links with you later on towards the end of the program if you're interested in attending and coming to the museum. But I also want to give a little bit of information on the artist Kazuki Takizawa. And I'll go ahead and share some images of some of the work that will be in the exhibition and some of the earlier works that Kazuki had produced. I will also send a few links to his website and to the exhibition page for the museum in a minute. But let me go ahead and share this. Technology. Okay. There you go. So artist Kazuki Takizawa, and let me know if y'all can see that. Hopefully the shared screen is working. So artist Kazuki Takizawa is an LA-based artist who uses glass and glass's duality, the ability to be transparent and opaque, durable and fragile, as a metaphor for living with bipolar disorder and to destigmatize mental illness. So he really kind of embeds a lot of meaning into the materiality of glass itself, how it's translucent, how it can break, how it can shatter, but how it can also hold. And he uses a lot of these ideas in combination with the exploration of mental health illnesses. This piece that you see right here is called Stopper Driven, and it's based on this idea of the binary or duality between words, stopper, driven, and just like this duality that's seen through a lot of his work. There's also this piece that you see right here, which is called Between Light and Shadow, which once again kind of presents these dualities of what is seen and what is not seen, and what is revealed when there's light, but also what is revealed when there's shadow. And this other piece titled Breaking the Silence, which was an installation where there was a sprinkler system that was slowly dropping water into these glasses, and then eventually they would fill with water and fall and break. And a lot of the ideas that he was working with these pieces were these ideas of both telling experience and telling a story, particularly some of his experiences of caring with individuals, for individuals that had severe suicidal ideation. So this is very integral to Kazuki's practice, is the voicing and the telling of these stories, and the telling and actually kind of manifesting what it is to live with bipolar disorder or with mental illnesses in order to destigmatize this and for people to be able to understand these a lot better, and how they function in life and how they can affect individuals, but then also how can one persevere through life with some of these illnesses. And we hope that y'all will be able to join us at the museum to see this exhibition and some of the other programming that we're going to be working with. And I'm going to go ahead and hand it over to Elena. Thank y'all.
Hello, everyone. Thank you. I'm Elena Krieneburn, and Suzanne Iskin and I came up with this idea in 2011, maybe sooner than that. But we've been working together, and we've had a long friendship and partnership and belief in each other's work since the MoCA days. We worked together when she was at MoCA as the head of the education department. This meant everything to us. And so I want to first also thank the Dennenberg Arts and Stuart and Beverly Dennenberg for their inspirational support and contribution to programs like these. It's made all the difference in what is possible for us in the future. And last but not least, I really want to thank two mavericks and partners in crime. Our executive director, Gabriel Meyer, whose hard work and devotional academic insights and artist revelations continue to spirit the Ruskin Art Club forward, and the brilliant poet, Brendan Constantine, for being our ignited mind in motion, making poetry a verb, necessary, making poetry educational fixture for Los Angeles and part of the cultural scene. I mean, Brendan's been so key in this whole adventure. So I'm now going to let Brendan introduce the poets, and then I will come back at the end and let you know about some future programs that we're doing. Thank you.
Hello, good evening, everyone. It's thrilling to see so many of you here. We're very excited about this program. A word of warning, as I introduce our guests, I'm going to be holding up their books, and I suspect by the end of the evening, you're going to have a lot of reading to do. In a poem called Chapel of the Green World, poet Paige Lewis asks, if the world is a plucked violin string, am I part of its sound or its stillness? I have to say, Paige Lewis is the echo, which means both, returning beautifully, poem after poem, again and again. That poem appears in a beautiful book called Space Struck, which came out from Sarr in 2019. Lewis curates a YouTube series called Hours Poetica and currently teaches at Purdue University in the low residency MFA program there at Randolph College. Ladies and gentlemen, Paige Lewis.
Hello, thank you, Brendan. It's so nice to see everyone here. I mean, I can only see the first of many pages of faces, but it's nice to see y'all's faces. And it's nice to be here and to read poetry with Lynn and Kaveh. And I'm just going to read a few poems, and I thought it would be best to start with the poem that was inspired by these glass works. Kazuki Takizawa really made me think about ghosts when I was looking at his work. I couldn't stop looking at the stopper-driven work and at the breaking the silence work, which I don't know that we just saw, but if you look it up, it's pretty interesting. But the glasses look to me like little ghosts, and so I wrote this poem about that. And the poem's title is in French, and I don't speak French, and I apologize, but I'm going to sound it out. And the title is a slogan of a satirical theory of resistentialism, which is a joke theory to describe seemingly spiteful behaviors in inanimate objects. And so the slogan translates to "These things are against us." And it is "Les choses sont contre nous." My ghosts, garish, fluid parasols, are polite, clinging close to the walls to avoid dripping on my carpet. They alert me to their entrance by making this sound, like a muffled crystal bell. In the past, my ghosts would hold mirrors under their noses as proof of living, but I've done away with reflections in my home, scuffed the spoons, boarded the windows. It's easier to work if you forget you're the one working. I dress under the sheets, awkward modesty, and I never worry about being alone. Even if my ghosts should leave, well, when I think with my thinking voice, my throat makes tiny vibrations to keep my thinking company. That's a real thing. when you are thinking, your vocal cords are making these tiny movements. So you do have someone, NASA is doing a study right now for, which is kind of terrifying, to watch small movements in people's faces in order to guess what they're thinking. And while that's terrifying, it's also very interesting. But anyway, I'm going to read a few more poems. I'm going to read this one because it has the word glassblower in it. And that is the only reason I have chosen it. It's called "On the Train, a Man Snatches My Book." On the train, a man snatches my book, reads the last line and says, "I completely get you. You're not that complex." He could be right. Lately, all my what ifs are about breath. What if a glassblower inhales at the wrong moment? What if I'm drifting on a sailboat and the wind stops? If he'd ask me how I'm feeling, I'd give him the long version. I feel as if I'm on the moon, listening to the air hiss out of my spacesuit, and I can't find the hole. I'm the vice president of panic, and the president is missing. Most nights, I calm myself by listing animals still on the least concern end of the extinction spectrum. Aardvarks and blackbirds are fine. Minnows thrive, though this brings me no relief. They can swim through sludge if they have to. I don't think I've ever written the word doom, but nothing else fits. Every experience seems both urgent and unnatural. Like right now, this train is approaching the station where my beloved is waiting to take me to the orchard so we can pay for the memory of having once, at dusk, plucked real apples from real trees. Okay, then, yeah, Vice President of Panic, that's me. I'm going to read one more poem. And it's a love poem. I love love poems. In fact, I think all of my poems are love poems, even the ones that are kind of mean. But this one is maybe a nice love poem. And thank you to Brendan for setting this up. Thank you to Elena and Andres and Suzanne and Lynn and Kaveh. And thank you to everyone that has
What do you mean, thank you?
And spent some time with poetry and with art.
That's really good, but I don't care.
To our audience, we need to make sure we're mute. Thank you, everyone. Even though we love your enthusiasms.
Is this?
I think this might be an interloper situation.
We can go ahead and continue. Thank you all.
Well, I feel like you should only really get heckled if you're doing stand-up. But it's always good to see what that's like. So my last poem is a love poem, and it is called "When I Tell My Beloved I Miss the Sun." When I tell my beloved I miss the sun, he knows what I really mean. He paints my name across the floral bedsheet and ties the bottom corners to my ankles. Then he paints another for himself. We walk into town and play the shadow game, saying, "Oh, I'm sorry for stepping on your shadow, and please be careful, My shadow is caught in the wheels of your shopping cart. It's all very polite. Our shadows get dirty just like anyone's, so we take them to the laundromat, the one with the 1996 Olympics-themed pinball machine, and watch our shadows warm against each other. We bring the shadow game home, and this is my favorite part. When we stretch our shadows across the bed, we get so tangled, my beloved grips his own wrist, certain it's mine, and kisses it. Thank you.
Paige, thank you so much. That was beautiful. Well, I'm happier than I deserve to be. I'd like to just read a few lines that have haunted me since the book Where They Live came out in 2017. I want to be shaken like a flag, like a new flag. I want to be shaken new, like a flag whipping away its dust. Want to pull out each of my teeth and replace them with jewels. I'm told what seems like joy is often joy, that the soul lives in the throat, clinking like a copper bell. I've been so young for so many years, it's all starting to jumble together. And it just keeps jumbling and jumbling. That is a poem from Kaveh Akbar's achingly beautiful collection, Calling a Wolf a Wolf. And the poem is called What Seems Like Joy. I have to say that as far as I'm concerned, joy is Kaveh Akbar's specialty. He seems to be able to find it everywhere, even in the terrible. And on the rare occasion there is no joy to be found, he can absolutely tell you where it used to be and where it is likely to turn up next. He holds an MFA from Butler University and a PhD in creative writing from Florida State. His second collection of poetry is eagerly awaited. It's called Pilgrim Bell and is due out from Grey Wolf Press. And he's one of the kindest men I've ever met in my life. Ladies and gentlemen, Kaveh Akbar.
Thanks so much for that, Brendan. And thanks for putting all of this together. Brendan, if you guys don't know Brendan's work, Brendan is an incredible, incredible poet. I teach Brendan's poems. I love Brendan's poems. Just an incredible poet and an incredible man off the page. Just a real gift to all of us. So thank you, Brendan. It's an honor to be here. Thank you, Elena. Thank you, Andres. Thank you, Lynn, Suzanne, everybody assembled here. Thank you so much for being here. Thank you, Paige, for being yourself. I'm a big fan. I'm gonna read. I'm surrounded by all these books. I'm gonna read my poem that I wrote for this project. I don't really have a ton to say about it, other than I was so moved by the artwork itself, and in thinking about my relationship to glass, I was thinking about how much of the past year I've spent just like looking through glass at the world. You know, I haven't really been in the world very much this past year, but I've been looking at the world through glass, and the glass has been the sort of intermediary in my experience of the world for the vast majority of the past year, which is sort of a really weird way to experience the world. You know, I'm often much more in the world, as I imagine most of us are. So this is the poem that I wrote for this project, with profound gratitude to Brendan for inviting me to write it. It's one of those like wild things where this would have never existed had it not been for Brendan asking me to write a thing. You know what I mean? Like had it not been for me, had it not been for that, you know, this would have never existed. That's still sort of wild to me, you know, like the miraculousness of making anything. But anyways, okay, so this is called Window. Lilies at the window, blue light at the window, isosceles window, thighs and knees window, what's best for you right now at the window, Redeemer window, spaceships, holy war at the window, window where the air is silver, festival window, money, money window, chocolate milk window, the prince and the nun at the window, softening like fruit, or language, the way language softens between lovers in the rain, or after passion, passion at the window, rainy window, they hacked and hacked at the window not made for hacking, not made to be hacked and hacked at, only the black box survived the crash window. Why not make the whole window out of the black box window? They hacked at it, not made for hacking window, the obstacle which turns attraction into passion, an obstacle window. I said yes, window. When I was called upon, I said yes. They hacked and they hacked window. Window says yes. Window speaks in civilized speak window. Civilized inscriptions, not hack and hack. Window neither regrets the past nor believes it's gone. Window knows how the past hacks the naivete of windows. To think the past, what you'll become, you already are. Window hacking and hacking. How David was there in the stone all along, waiting to be cut out. Window not made for hacking. Little moons carved into a window. Little crosses carved into a window. The obviousness of ideas window. Hacking and hacking. Window who made these pages. Window who will tear them out. So thanks to all the people assembled here and for this project, for inviting us to respond. It's a real occasion for gratitude. I'm just going to read two more poems. One of them is a me poem, and one of them is a not me poem. Sometimes when I do readings, I like to read poems by not me people, having spent the past year with myself and with Paige. But largely with myself. I've gotten a little bit sick of myself, and so I like to read poems by non-me people as well. And so this is a poem by the poet Justin Rovios Monson. I got to publish this poem at a magazine that I edit poetry for, and I just think it's so great. I just think it's so good. Justin Rovios Monson is an incarcerated poet based in Michigan, and in this poem, especially the last line, we'll get to it, but especially the last line, I've been thinking about ever since I first read it in my email. And so I wanted to share it with you. So again, this is not a poem by me. This poet's name is Justin Rovios, Rovillos, Monson, Monson. If he has other poems online that you can find as well. But his name is Justin Rovios Monson, and this poem is called Everybody Dies. Almost every man I know talks too goddamn much. All my favorite poets are women and gods. What I really miss is the pavement at midnight, my elongated shadow. There are mornings when the hunger pulses through me, when I just want to see a man die like an ox in a flooded field, where every witness is swallowed at once by a minute of silence, then continues the work of living. It's not that I'm thirsty for blood. I just want to be alone and with you at the same time. G told me long ago she thinks I'm cold, and I responded for years by writing on shreds of paper, my mind is on fire. She slipped them into her mouth and waited for the wet grass of a man she could love. On my sternum, there is a thumbprint from where you pressed a seed into earth. G told me to be us is to die before we kissed on the hood of my car. Years ago, I stole the necessary tools to bleed my idols, and I haven't stopped drinking since that first cut. They're buried in my garden now, whispering into each other's ears, fingers wet with blood and water combing through your hair. Two suns live behind my eyes, and while one rises, the other sets. I'll just never forget that final line. Two suns live behind my eyes, and while one rises, the other sets. It's great. Okay, thank you all so much again for allowing me to be here. And I'm going to read just one more poem, and then I'll cede the floor to my betters. This poem is from, I have a new book coming out, and this is from that. It's called Reading Fedoxad in a Pandemic. This poem does have, like you can see on the page, it has like actual like Farsi, written Farsi in it. Farsi was my first language, but I lost it when we came to America, and I've been relearning to read it, but you'll hear me reading this Farsi and I'll sound like a 5-year-old, like sounding it out. And I'm very, very self-conscious about it. And I know that, I know that we have Farsi speakers in the audience, I can see. So so I'm a little bit self-conscious about that. So I'm getting in front of that self-consciousness by narrating that self-consciousness. I'm going to sound out these Farsi words the way that, like, which I think is actually part of the poem, for what it's worth, but it doesn't make me any less self-conscious about it. So Fedoxad, Farrokh Fedoxad was a major 20th century Iranian poet. She's great. Farrokhzadzad, if you want to find her. Reading Fedoxad in a Pandemic. The title is a lie. I can't read Farsi. Maharche ra ke boyad az dast dadim bashim az dast dadim. I can make out, we lose, we lose. I type it into a translation app. We have lost everything we need to lose. In between what I read and what is written, need, everything. Here, the waving flag. Here, the other world. Because we need mail, people die. Because we need groceries, people die. I write, we need, knowing we dilutes my responsibility, like watercolors dipped in a fast river. Get behind me, English. When I text, meharche ra ke boyad az dast dadim bashim az dast dadim, to my dad, he writes back, we have lost whatever we had to lose. Hammering pentameter, whatever we had. People die because they look like him. My uncle jailed, his daughter killed. This is a real fact, too wretched for letters. And yet, my uncle jailed, his daughter killed. Waving world, the other flag. There is room in the language for being without language. So much of wet is cold. So much of diamond is light. I want both my countries to be right, to fear me. We have lost whatever we had to lose.
Bar, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much. That was breathtaking. Once again, for those of you at home with a little disposable income, this is Paige Lewis's book, Space Truck. Here's Kave's Calling a Wolf, and lastly, Fretwork from our ultimate poet. Let me see if I can get that lined up. There we go. From Lynn Thompson. Lynn Thompson has a knack for family history. Everyone's family. She can talk to ghosts, and she knows all the secret dances of mothers and fathers, not to mention the secrets of the lost gods of America. They pass through her work like ghosts passing through walls. She was a beauty or she wasn't. She spoke softly or laughed like a man who slugs 5 fingers of whiskey every day. She loved a carnival, but only when it came to town. She had a hunger for the short story and asked for everything that happened, then put it behind her as soon as. My dear friend and our city's newly celebrated poet laureate, Lynn is the recipient of many, many, many well-deserved awards, among them the Individual Artist Fellowship from the City of Los Angeles, Stephen Dunn Poetry Award. Her work is widely published, anthologized, not to mention urgently shared. She serves on the board of Cave Canem and Los Angeles Review of Books. And at this point in her bio, she is not only rolling her eyes, but I suspect she invites all of us to do the same. So I'll stop there and just say, ladies and gentlemen, Lynn Thompson.
What I was thinking as you were talking, Brendan, was that I should say, and if you wait just a minute, I'll go get her. But you'll just have to deal with me instead. All that everyone has said in terms of thanks for inviting me to the Craft Contemporary, to the Ruskin Art Club, to Dennenberg Arts, Brendan, Suzanne, and Elena, thank you so much. And I was overjoyed to know that I was going to read with Kava and Paige, so thank you. I'm going to be selfish and read 5 poems, but they're not very long, so maybe you'll indulge me. I tried to pick poems of mine that talk about the arts in particular, and I'll start with this one that was inspired by one of the city's treasures, Betty Sarr. Assemblage. I was born from the time in between in the house of tarot, born of Our Lady of the Shadows, and I have survived 10 secret mojos. I got a conjure bag, got good luck tokens and some herbs. I know how to catch a unicorn because I am a spirit catcher. I am not the high priestess, but I have a view from the sorcerer's window, and I have never belonged to the Black Cross in the white section only. I am not one of those midnight Madonnas, but neither am I a rainbow babe in the woods. Sometimes I dream about my grandmother's house when it was indigo mercy. Was she bequeathed me her house of the open hand, so I wouldn't live anyone's imitation of life. So I could live as Lullaby or Sheba, Red Bone or Black Crossing. So I thought that if I read something inspired by Betty, I needed to read something inspired by her daughter, who's also an artist, Allison Sarr. It's her work that's on the cover of the book that Brendan held up. And this poem is inspired by a sculpture of hers, which is glass, a glass head. Terrible fortune inside my head, Grenadine. And the Grenadines are a small group of islands that my parents hail from in the West Indies. Terrible fortune inside my head, Grenadine. And my head lies eternally on its side. Its one unbound ear cocked to the wind, always howling, racing away, exposed, expectant. And though my head is made of glass, nothing could be less clear, caked with the dark world's detritus, bone, tissue, links of chain, centuries. And if my head is made of glass, it could not be more clear cut. If only you would look closely above my throat, behind both occluded eyes. If you look, you'll see the ship, its masts time-worn, ragged, roots unremembered. Could it be the unnamed slaver that ran aground at Spring? And though my ancestors cannot tell me of its provenance, its terrible fortune is false or true, the ship moans unmoored for all that's been lost. My head sideways to history, my free ear tintinnabulating old miseries of a terror that scored walls in Elmina Castle and all the tortured shrieking inside. This short one is because both the artwork and the artist inspire. Last night, I dreamed I was Frida Kahlo. Star tips and tight earth, beaver, pond, blue Veronica. I wasn't Frida, but I was just as unfathomable, being roots and thistle and blood, bulb of green earth, womb of some winged web weaver, deep lover, quite still, still stone. In morning's indigo, in the steam and sun of it all, I was supplicant before oceans, appetite, ideas, and lantern light, unhooked and needle fine, copper red, a cosmos. And then when Brendan asked me to come, I knew there was something that I wanted to read. And this was a piece I wrote for an exhibit at the Craft Contemporary, I don't know how many years ago, when they had a tattoo artist exhibit, and the pieces were absolutely amazing. And so this is the piece that I got out of that. Lyceum. Whenever he thinks of me, and he will think of me walking away, my body turned against another weariness, my hips inked with roses, and he'll be convinced he can smell them, each petal wafting its singular fragrant particular, its own design. And he will believe that when he saw me last, I was clothed in only blue lace, blue as the harbor at Toulon, pale blue, forget-me blue, blueberry, blue of the high-stepping Prussians, of ice, of hard boys, the politics of scratch, Egyptian blue ground from silica, copper, and lime, the indigo described by Pliny the Elder, the blue of the cloak of Christ in the Hagia Sophia, in the pottery at Delft, or Van Gogh's Starry Night. And when he recalls the lace, from the vulgar Latin lacium, linen or silk, pearl knitted tablecloth or doily for wounded flesh, he will recall I was adorned with ribbons, colored pink, gulabi, cherry blossom, rosa, flamingo, and Amazon dolphin. Also our sorrow. I never stopped or turned around. And I'll close with this. As everyone has said, it's been amazing to look at Kazuki Takizawa's work. I wish I could have seen it in person, but like we had to, we went online. And I was particularly moved by his Guardian series, which led me to do some research and find out about Jizu, a beloved figure in Japanese Buddhism, who is a protector of children, of travelers, of pregnant women, of ancestors who've died too soon. So this poem was inspired by those pieces, and I encourage you to go and look for them. They're lovely. Prayers to O Jizu-sama, O guardian, O Jizu-sama, come to me with your feathers and horns, and occasionally wear the red bib. Come with your humanity. Turn your face, opaque, to reflect light upon me. Mother monk me as I pray for the well, that sicknesses may avoid them. As I pray that all harm be removed from those undeserving of harm. I pray to protect travelers across all boundaries. I pray to protect children unborn or who, having died too young, cannot cross the Sanzu River. O Jizu-sama, I pray for enrichment of crops and fields so that everyone who hungers may be fed. May the bells peal so that we may survive disasters, whether they fall from the sky or rage over the land in a flash of flames. That we may confront our nightmares, our constant companions in disregard of green earth, of every mother's womb. I pray, O Jizu-sama, for a birth of new eyes for new seeing. And I pray for longevity, or that my days are just long enough to connect with the graves of forgotten ancestors, or of those who, seeming to have gone away from us, have gone on to live alone or only in the margins. For these, O Jizu Sama, I pray. Thank you.
Lovely. Lynn Thompson, ladies and gentlemen. So I have some students who are attending tonight, and a couple of them are busily writing up their homework. And one has asked that I repeat the names of the poems from which I read excerpts. I read an excerpt from Paige Lewis's poem, Chapel of the Green Lord, from Kaveh Akbar's What Seems Like Joy, and from Lynn Thompson's Carnival, all of which are available in their books. Paige Lewis's Space Struck, Kaveh Akbar's Calling a Wolf, and finally Lynn Thompson's Fretwork. All of these books are sound investments. I highly recommend that you go seek them out. Thank you all for letting me be of service and for making this event possible. Thanks to my friend Elena Karina Byrne, to the Ruskin Art Club, Denenberg Fine Arts, my friend Suzanne Iskin, director at the Craft Contemporary Museum, and the amazing Andreas who kept us all together. Thank you all very much. Ladies and gentlemen, my friend Elena Karina Byrne.
Hello, everyone again. Just some quick announcements. And gosh, thank you, Kazuki Takizawa. I took some glass blowing classes with him. He's amazing, amazing, amazing. Can you guys hear me? Okay. So please go to our website, www.ruskinartclub.org, for information about our club, our upcoming events, the YouTube channel for past events that maybe you missed, our archive of lectures and presentations, and please consider becoming a member. As you know, these things are so important during this time. Lots of new materials, so pay us a visit. Our new series and mini conference on the Ruskin and the American Transcendentalists are as part of our periodic series of lectures on Ruskin in America, and 3 presentations in May. Sarah Atwood will speak on Ruskin and Emerson. Professor Laura Dassau-Walls from Notre Dame University will do a groundbreaking lecture on Ruskin and Thoreau, and our own Gabriel Meyer will wrap up with a talk on Ruskin and John Muir and the creation of the American National Parks System. Now, all of these things are interrelated. We're thinking about ecology, we're thinking about art, we're thinking about human labor, we're thinking about the preservation of what it means to to integrate the arts during this time. So those are subsequent Thursdays, May 13th, May 20th, details on the website. And please, please come back for our October 23rd ekphrastic poetry event. Brendan's curating it again, the Craft Contemporary, and 3 new poets. We're very excited and we're very pleased that you're here. Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you all so much for joining us. This is just kind of a thank you from the Craft and Folk Art Museum to everybody that made this program possible. Thank you to our poets, to Paige, to Kaveh, and to Lynn. It was beautiful kind of hearing all of y'all's words. And even though we are not able to be in person, I was really grateful that y'all could be here with us today to share a digital space. And a few just announcements. A reminder that the museum is opening, and we're excited and to finally be welcoming some folks into the museum and to be seeing some of y'all's faces. So please visit us if you want to check out the exhibitions, particularly Kazuki Takizawa's exhibitions. I'm sending 2 links on the chat right now. One of them is for the public opening, which is on May 9th. And then the other one is for the member preview that I'm going to share in a bit, which if you're a member of the museum or become a member to the museum, you'll have access to the museum a week early before it's open to the public. And once again, I had a message that somebody sent earlier, so I'm sharing Kazuki Takizawa's exhibition page again. And thank you all so much. Please check out some of the other programs that the museum has coming up. We're going to be hosting a tour we're going to be hosting a virtual tour with the Museum of Crafty Design in San Francisco. And then we have another program coming up towards the end of April, which is going to be a steel pan, a making steel pan live presentation all the way from Trinidad and Tobago. So y'all should definitely check in for some of those things. And thank you all so much for joining us, and we'll hope to see you soon.